Welcome to Talkin' Ball with Scott Theisen and Drew DeArmond. Call into the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline now, 256-576-4977. That's 256-576-4977. Now, here's Scott and Drew.
And there you go. We are back and we are live. It is brand new. It's 97.7 ESPN The Zone's Talking Ball. Live on 97.7 ESPN The Zone. Scott Theisen, Drew DeArmond with you on a Wednesday morning. It is game week. That can only mean one thing and one thing only right out of the gates. That means it's time to catch up with our sixth grader prognosticator as he makes his way to school. We've got a big one this week. The AP poll came out yesterday shortly after our show. Alabama moves up to number 3. Texas holds steady at number 11. It is inside Bryant-Denny Stadium. It is Texas, Alabama. And Grady the Greek joining us like he does each and every Wednesday during game week. Back with us this morning. Morning, Grady.
Morning.
Morning, Grady. How you doing, bud?
Good.
How'd you like the game last Saturday?
Last week was good. It was good.
Mm-hmm.
Are you okay with Jalen Milroe?
Yeah, I am. He had some good passes last week.
He did.
Okay. All right, Grady. You got a big one this week. You got Alabama and Texas.
And the Tide is a 7-point favorite. It's held pretty steady there, Grady.
This week's going to be really tough. Monroe's going to need to play really good with his legs and his arms because he's going to have to make a few runs.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to be really, really close.
What are you thinking?
I think it's going to be Bama 27, Texas 23.
Oh, okay. 27-23, 4-point game, so you like the Longhorns to cover. Who's your MVP for the game?
Monroe.
So you think Milroe's going to play well and cement this job?
Yes.
Are you going to get to go? That's the real question.
I don't know.
Okay. All right. Hey, by the way, I hear you are now up to playing tackle football. Is that right?
Yes, sir.
How's that
Nice.
going?
It's good.
How are you guys doing so far?
We're doing good. We're 3-0.
Oh, nice. Already 3-0. So what position are you playing?
Wide receiver and corner.
Oh, there you go.
All right. Are we picking just one, or are we going to do 2 games this week?
Yep.
We're just doing one.
Oh, all right. Still early in the season, right?
Yes, sir.
All right. Who are we going to give shout-outs to?
Shout out to my friend Titus.
Oh, okay. Cool.
All right.
Is he one of your football teammates?
Yes, sir.
Oh, nice.
Great. How's 6th grade going now? We're about a couple weeks in. Are we adjusting?
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right, Grady. Enjoy your morning, bud.
Appreciate it, man.
See ya.
All right, Grady the Greek has spoken.
Mm-hmm.
27-23, Alabama over Texas. He likes Jalen Milroe in this one. That is probably, I think, where it starts for Alabama is obviously Jalen Milroe.
Yep.
Do Tide fans, do you look at Jalen Milroe any different than what you did before the Middle Tennessee game, or do you look at him different after the Middle Tennessee game?
I'm just cautiously optimistic. He played well. He's got to stack performances. Nothing's guaranteed.
Right.
I think he definitely earned this start against Texas. He didn't play flawlessly against Middle Tennessee, but he definitely should have been given an A. Nobody's perfect, but I think he went out and did his job. He scored points. He didn't turn it over. His efficiency was really good. And we're going to talk Texas more tomorrow, hopefully, but from their perspective. But I know I saw C.J. Vogel. I've had him on the show from the Football Brainiacs, and he thinks the key for Texas is going to be taking away Milroe's first read, that he wasn't having to go to his second and third read a lot. Well, those guys were open, and
right.
We'll see if they're open against Texas. If Texas can take away the first read, maybe they'll have success. But I'll just say this. speaking of former Texas coaches, he was a Texas defensive coordinator, but Will Muschamp back in 2014, he thought he could do that to Blake Sims and play a lot of zone, and he got fired. That's all I'm going to say. Now, Alabama doesn't have, Amari Cooper, but the first play of the game went 87 yards to another NFL player, Kenyon Drake. So we'll see. I'm going to be really interested to see how Tommy Rees schemes up Texas, and Texas did a great job against Rice,
right.
And shut them down. But we'll see if they can do that against Alabama. Alabama was their own worst enemy against Texas last year. I mean, just the penalties kept Texas in the ball game. But Alabama did a good job of knocking out, of course, Quinn Ewers, and then, of course, and containing Bijan Robinson. They didn't completely stop him, but they contained him, and then they were able to get a W. So we'll see. But I like Alabama's chances. I'm a little more optimistic than Grady. Grady thinks it's going to be a one-possession game down to the end.
27-23.
I think it's going to be 34-17 Alabama. I think they're going to send a message. But I've thought this all summer. I was wrong last summer. I thought Alabama would blow Texas out.
They were a 21-point favorite last year going into Austin. This year, obviously, 7.5. I think I've seen it float around there. By the way, though, this is the first time since the 2010 BCS championship game, of course, they've only met one other time after, and that was last year, that both of them are actually ranked. They were not ranked. Both of them were not ranked. Alabama was, of course, going into Austin last year, but Texas was not inside the top 25. They are number 11 this year. First ever meeting was 1902, by the way.
Yeah,
in case you wanted
Texas
to really,
won that game in Tuscaloosa 10-0 or whatever, like that means anything.
1902. I know it doesn't mean a thing. I just wanted to. I mean that the series has not been played a ton lately, but back in the 50s and 60s.
No, until last year, it was never played in the regular season. It was always in the postseason.
Right.
And last year was, except for the 1902 meeting, and so this was the first. In the modern era regular season meeting, and this will be the second. And then, of course, they'll be SEC rivals, and so we'll see.
All right, let's stay on the phone lines. Mark is with us this morning. Good morning, Mark.
What's up?
Hey, good morning, guys. Hey, did y'all get a chance to play Leonard's Loser on Friday?
Steve never sent it to us.
Yeah, we didn't get it.
Okay. Okay. Well, we'll have to get on Steve on that. I was 3-0, but I picked LSU to lose. And I picked Milroe to set an Alabama record.
Nice.
And I said he'd set a record. I'm not sure which one, but he's going to set a record, this positive record. And let me tell you something about Milroe that I was shocked at, and that was the reporters after the game. They asked him probably 15 times. They tried to get him to take credit for something. And I know Coach Saban drills team, team. But there was something special about his answers that a lot of people may overlook. But to be a champion and to be the kind of quarterback that you got to have, those were not fake answers. I mean, if you could go back, and I doubt you want to go back and play his interview, but if you did, the answers that he gave in terms of every time they would ask, well, how about that? You set a record. How about the run that, fumble snap? He would always say it's for 10 other players, or without the line, I wouldn't have been able to get outside the tackle box. He was able to explain it in such a way that was really unlike even other Alabama quarterbacks. So I'm high on Milroe. I think his ceiling is really, really high. And I'm like you, Drew. I just do not see this game being close. I think the crowd is going to be a factor. And the last thing I'll mention about the game is this, that Nick Saban doesn't forget a lot of things. And I know a lot of people don't think this matters, but little things matter with him, like turning the heat on in his locker room at 11 o'clock a.m. kickoff or noon last year in Texas. Small things like the band not screwing around with $1 million band, things like that, tradition. And he likes using mental things, psychology. He's the best at it in the game. Would you talk about that factor? Not only does he have the best players playing in the best stadium, But being a night game, I see Alabama winning this game 47-17. A complete whipping of Texas.
Well, I mean, I don't quite see it that is that big a whipping. I see Alabama putting it away in the fourth quarter and pulling away, as I just said. But we'll see. I mean, it's well documented what they did to the band last year, and what happened in the locker rooms. I mean, heck, by halftime, even in the concession stands, they were running out of water and food. I mean, Texas is supposed to have more money than everybody, but they also have the biggest, probably most inflated egos for how good their program actually is when you look at the history of it than what it truly has done on the field. But still, I mean, and Alabama's kind of returning the favor. There's been some people that don't like the fact Alabama's doing that. I don't mind it, to be honest with you.
It's the last time they can do it too, because once Texas becomes a member of the SEC next year, the SEC does have the guidelines where you have to give them, a certain amount of tickets in the lower bowl. The bands have to be seated in the lower bowl. So this is the last year that you can do this to any. And actually, if Alabama wanted to, or Auburn, or anybody else, they could do it to any non-conference team that they want to do so. They just choose not to do it.
They didn't do
generally.
it to Middle Tennessee. I mean, Middle Tennessee was in the lower corner.
Right.
But, they're going to do it to Texas because Texas did it to them.
Right.
What's good for the goose is good for the gander. Don't complain. After even though I doubt Alabama's going to have the heat turned up in the locker room, they're going to, Texas is going to be in the aptly named fail room, and they're going to fail. And so that's basically all I'm going to say. And so I think Alabama's got the better football team. I think Texas is good. I think Sark's got them better, but I still think this Alabama team's got – and I think Alabama realizes they didn't play a great game last year, and they let Texas hang around. And, it's kind of like what happened this year. I think it's going to be similar to what Florida State did to LSU. Well, LSU woulda, coulda, shoulda. Should have won the game against Florida State, and lost after they got an extra point blocked or whatnot and missed an extra point at the end of the game in New Orleans to lose by 1. And everybody's like, well, LSU this year they're gonna handle Florida State, and they'd still be playing. And so Florida State, kicked them all over the field the entire second half. And I do think Texas is very capable of staying in the game. I think they will for the majority of it, but I think Alabama's going to put it away in the fourth quarter.
Well, one of the things to keep in mind about this game is the play of Quinn Ewers. And we got to get a break in. But when we come back, some interesting numbers that might really parlay into Alabama's favor. Plus, we will hear from Nick Saban. We also got to hear from Hugh Freeze. The Tigers getting ready to head out west to take on Cal. Some numbers there. A lot of stuff to get to. Plus your phone calls, 256-576-4977.
You're listening to Talkin' Ball on 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
Just got a wreck reported on Greenbrier Parkway off 565. That one's coming in as a no injury. Got an injury on Mooresville Road at Huntsville-Browns Ferry. They were working Pulaski Pike and Cora Hill. Apparently a serious injury involved in that one. And we had one in Decatur, Gordon, Terry, and Woodall reported with injuries, but they canceled the ambulance. Get 2 pieces of hand-battered, juicy, tender signature chicken and a buttermilk biscuit for $4.99 at Popeyes. Popeyes University and Jordan, 72 and Jeff and North Parkway. Captain Neck in the Popeyes Skywatch Traffic Center.
Tom Luganbill here for my friends at Woody Anderson Ford. Bobby White and his team take great pride in their service department, and you can see it the moment you walk into those beautiful new service lanes. And just like a championship team, they all work together to make sure your experience is second to none, whether you drive a Ford or not. Also, check out the gold-certified pre-owned inventory at Woody Anderson Ford for great deals every day. Stop by and see them at Jordan and Sparkman or at Woody Anderson of Madison on Hughes Road, or visit WoodyAndersonFord.com.
Are you tired of chasing a roofing contractor to show up on time or even show up at all? I'm Sam Fleming with Fleming Roofing and Restoration. Our motto at Fleming Roofing is we show up. Our goal at Fleming Roofing is to provide the reliable customer service that you deserve, and we have the resources to meet all of your roofing needs: residential, commercial, industrial, replacement, or repairs. We are manufacturer certified for roof coatings, single-ply membranes, and asphalt shingles. Whenever you need a roofing professional you can count on, call Fleming Roofing and Restoration. We are committed to finding the solution that meets your needs. We don't have quotas or heavy-handed sales tactics. Fleming Roofing, we have expert experience. We show up. Free estimates, residential, commercial, industrial, replacement or repairs. Check us out at FlemingHSV.com. FlemingHSV.com. When you need a quick response, it's Fleming Roofing and Restoration. We show up.
Not looking or feeling your best? No energy for the things you like to do? Ready to look and feel younger? Make your appointment at Advanced Life Clinic, one of the region's foremost destinations for patients interested in looking and feeling their best. Specializing in advanced laser treatments and weight loss, male and female rejuvenation to offset the effects of aging, and more. See how Advanced Life Clinic can help you enjoy your life again. Call 256-882-6555 or log on advancedlifeclinic.com.
I'm attorney Gary Lackey. If you've been injured and need a lawyer right now, and pick up the phone to call, you know, one you've seen on a billboard or on TV begging for your business, do you know who you really get?
I'm attorney Jennifer Lackey. You want to talk to your lawyer. You don't want to reach a call center, not in some office 100 miles away. With the Lackey Law Firm, that never happens. My clients talk to me.
And me. I'm attorney Justin Lackey. We're the ones that you talk to. We're the ones that you meet with.
And we're the ones who handle your personal injury case. You want to talk to me? You just call me.
And we'll take care of it. You worry about getting well. We'll take care of the rest.
The Lackey Law Firm.
And I'll go you one better. If you can't come to us, we'll come to you.
The Lackey Law Firm. The Lackey Law Family. 1-800-4RIGHTS.
No representation is made that the quality of the legal services to be performed is greater than the quality of legal services performed by other lawyers.
The new favorite place for delicious Mexican food is Coralejos Mexican Grill in Huntsville. Check out their reviews on Facebook and you'll see what people are raving about. Enjoy drink specials all day Monday through Thursday, like house margaritas for $3.99 and 12-ounce drafts for $2. Even vegan-friendly entrees on Monday starting at 5. Coralejos Mexican Grill, 1658 Old Monrovia Road in Huntsville. Follow them on Facebook and Instagram to stay updated on their specials.
Welcome back. Talking about 97.7 ESPN The Zone. Scott Tyson, Drew DeArmond with you on a Wednesday morning. Not having a show on Monday continuously throws me off. Welcome back into the show. Nick Saban, on Monday, talking a little bit about this matchup. And talking, though, about the turnovers. Obviously, you got to keep the ball in your own hands and try to take it away as much as you can.
You know, we got 2 turnovers. We had a third ball on the ground that we probably should have gotten. We didn't turn the ball over, which is a real plus offensively or on special teams. So you always want to have a positive turnover ratio, so we're +2, so that's a positive thing. I thought there were times when we could have had a little better ball security, which we will point out to the players. And there were some other opportunities maybe where we could have got some balls out. So when you're emphasizing turnovers and not turning the ball over, those are always things that you're trying to focus on.
It was interesting to hear and interesting to see that turnovers last year, Alabama didn't force a ton of turnovers on defense.
They did not. They weren't disruptive enough. They did not, take the ball away like they have in the past, which is kind of what they were known for. They weren't good enough against the run, against elite competition. They didn't communicate very well. They were. I know defensively the numbers said they were better than Georgia, and people have made a lot of conversation about that. But again, I know what my eyes see, and Alabama was really good on defense, at times, but they were inconsistent. There was a lot of adjustments that had to be made at halftime. I'll just say I didn't think they played up to their talent level. I didn't think they were very disciplined because the communication was poor. In those games, like they escaped against Texas, but they had 17 penalties. They had a ton of penalties against Tennessee. They had a lot of penalties against LSU. They just did not play, cohesive football on that side of the ball. They basically won because they were talented.
Right.
And I don't think they were very well coached at times, and I think that's why Wild Turkey's in Oxford.
So Quinn Ewers, obviously last year, and Texas brings back a very, very talented wide receiver core. We already know Alabama's dealing with possibly some injuries in that secondary, so obviously stopping Quinn Ewers is going to be huge. But Quinn Ewers is doing something that he has not done a lot of as a Texas starting quarterback. He has only started 5 games away from Austin. He has started at Oklahoma State, Kansas, Oklahoma, and Washington. His average on-the-road completion percentage is just 66%. He's only thrown for 256 yards away from Austin. He's only thrown 2 touchdowns. So Quinn Ewers, while he was great last year at Austin, making a road trip in an environment like Bryant-Denny Stadium could be a little different and a little challenging for the quarterback.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely is. I mean, Sark in his time at Texas, and this is only year 3, he's they have not won, big road games so far, as you could say. I mean, they won a huge neutral site matchup with Oklahoma last year, 47-0 at the State Fair, but Oklahoma stunk. So, I mean, I think they were 5-7, 6-7, whatever the hell they were. So they weren't very good. So they haven't beat a really good team on the road yet. So we'll see. I mean, they've received a lot of hype in the offseason, just like LSU did. LSU was a 4-loss team. Everybody kind of seemed to think they had lost 1 or 2 games and nearly made the playoff, but they didn't. And so, I mean, they lost to Dirt Neck, for crying out loud, by double digits at the end of the regular season. So, and then they did make some plays against Georgia, but they still lost 50-30.
Right.
So,
right.
I mean, a loss is a loss, and so we'll see. Texas was decent last year. I think when they almost beat Alabama, a lot of people thought they were going to win the Big 12. We saw that certainly didn't happen. Didn't even come close to happening. And so we'll see if they've made the prerequisite improvement and if they can come in and beat Alabama in Tuscaloosa in front of a raucous environment.
Steve Sarkisian does talk about his quarterback.
I think there's just a level of confidence in Quinn that's different. A year ago he's making his second career start and probably still learning our offense, quite frankly, and the nuances of our offense. I think there's a level of confidence in him this year around and focused in on, how does he operate plays in the system in a way to help the other guys, and not because he's got a pretty firm grasp of what he's doing. But to me, the biggest thing showed up Saturday with just the maturity, the way he rebounded coming out of halftime after a couple frustrating things. I know the quarterback takes a lot of the brunt of when things aren't just clicking smoothly on offense, but we blew some protections that weren't on him, and he took some unnecessary hits and sacks that weren't on him. We didn't run a couple routes very well, especially on a couple deep balls when you go back and watch the tape, and how we ran them, and then the throw looks errant, but quite frankly, the route wasn't exactly where it was supposed to be either. And so, but that's the life you live as a quarterback, right? You assume the blame, right, and then you give the praise when it's good. And so, but for Quinn, that didn't rattle him. We got back at halftime, we got things kind of rectified, and came out and played a really clean first 3 drives there in the second half. So I think that he's in a good space and ready to go this week.
Did you see a change in the Alabama defense that would say, okay, maybe they can take Quinn Ewers off his spot this week? Did you see any kind of thing that would lead to that Saturday?
Well, I saw no penalties, or 2, but they were, inconsequential. I saw, a lot of really good tackling in the open field. I saw I didn't see any busts. I saw a lot of really good communication. I mean, they gave up a couple plays, but right. I mean, again, that's stuff to work on. A couple times they let somebody get loose out of the backfield and went on swing passes. So you got to watch that because Sark is very adept at those kind of play calls, and he does a great job of getting guys the ball out in space. But if you're Alabama, you just got to read your keys. You got to play good fundamental football. The one concern is the injury to Jalen Key. which sounds like it's a knee. We'll see how severe it is. I don't think he's practiced much yet, but today is kind of moving day, as they say. It's a heavy workload day on Wednesday, and we'll see also with Malachi Moore, who I think had an ankle. Those are the two big question marks because those guys are both seniors back there. Key hasn't played a lot at Alabama, but he's very experienced and a very good player, it looks like, and certainly Malachi Moore has played a lot. But again, I saw a lot of I saw high intensity play the whole game. I saw really good run defense. I saw linebackers flying around, not looking confused. It was more, to me, I thought Alabama was attacking instead of reacting. And if they do that to Texas, I think they can bring the noise a little bit. And I think Kevin Steele, he's seen potent offenses like this before. He did a great job against Joe Burrow and LSU in slowing them down. And he's got more talent than he had at Auburn. I thought he maximized what he had at Auburn. I thought those guys absolutely just, they were as good as they could be. He got every ounce of ability out of those guys.
Right.
And I think he's got even more in his toolbox at Alabama, and I think they can give Texas some issues.
All right, so what's at stake for Alabama? Well, they do have a 21 straight home game win streak. Dates back to November 23rd, 2019. That's when they got by Western Carolina. By the way, it's the fourth longest win streak in stadium history, and I did not know this, but Alabama does boast the best all-time home winning percentage in the FBS right now at 84% since Bryant-Denny Stadium opened in 1929. I did not know that. And second on the list is Boise State. They have an 82% winning percentage. Oklahoma's at 81%. Georgia Southern is at 81%. And Marshall is at 80%. Those are the top 5 winning percentages in their current stadium. I did not realize Alabama was tops in the country at 84% at Bryant-Denny Stadium since it opened in 1929. I did not know that.
Well, yeah, I mean, Coach Bryant had an extremely long winning streak that was finally broken by Reggie Collier in Southern Mississippi very late in his career, because people forget a lot of the biggest home games were played in Birmingham. They weren't played in Bryant-Denny Stadium, but when they were, Alabama was nearly unbeatable. And Coach Saban, I know people have made some things out about losing the game in 2000. In 2015. Let me correct myself. 2015 against Ole Miss. But Alabama had 5 turnovers in that game. They lost to LSU in 2019, mainly also because of turnovers. That's what's going to be the big key.
Right.
If Jalen Milroe doesn't turn it over and Alabama can turn over Quinn Ewers, then Alabama's going to win the game. Period. End of story. If Alabama holds on to the football and isn't their own worst enemy, and they were their own worst enemy in Austin last year, the 17 penalties,
right,
then Alabama's going to win the game, because I think Alabama's the more talented, and I think Alabama's the better football team.
All right, we got to get a break in. When we come back, it is time for us to talk a little Team of the Week, shall we, with Irvin McGuire, Lee Generals. Let's do that. Let's get to a break. Let's talk some Team of the Week when we return.
You're listening to Talkin' Ball on 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
From the Fox 54 Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Emily Owen. For this Wednesday, expect a mostly sunny sky. High temperature is going to be topping out in the lower 90s for the afternoon. Scattered showers and thunderstorms going to be possible in the afternoon as well. Heading into your Wednesday night, we'll keep rain in the forecast through at least midnight. Otherwise, we'll see a partly cloudy sky. Low temperature is going to be falling into the lower 70s. I'm meteorologist Emily Owen on your home for ESPN Radio 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
Got several accidents they're trying to get wrapped up. Greenbrier Parkway off 565 was a no injury. Gordon, Terry, and Woodall in Decatur should be getting close to being ready to clear. They canceled the ambulance on it. Mooresville and Huntsville Browns Ferry reported with a minor injury. Pulaski Pike and Cora Hill apparently had serious injuries. They did a full investigation there. Someone dies from heart disease every 36 seconds. Dr. Randall Burns and the team at Huntsville Heart Specialist on Bob Wallace Avenue can help you keep your heart healthy. Captain Nick in the Jordan Lane Popeye Skywatch Traffic Center.
Ann Adams with Berkshire Hathaway Rise Real Estate is the one name to know if you're buying or selling real estate. With years of local experience, Ann Adams offers buyers in-depth knowledge of the local housing market and will narrow available properties down to those you'll be interested in so you can save time when shopping for your new home. If you're ready to sell, Ann offers a seamless process using accurate pricing and expert negotiation skills to make sure you get a fair price for your home. Call Ann Adams today at 256-337-2625 or log on bhhsriserealestate.com.
Work injuries happen in Alabama all the time, whether it's an accident at work, getting injured, lifting heavy objects, hurting your hands on a machine, or just performing the same movement over and over until your body breaks down. But when it happens, there's only one law firm to call in Alabama. That's Pond, Lehocky, Giordano. For personalized legal support, reach out to Pond Lehocky at 855-774-3838 or pondlehocky.com.
No representation is made that the quality of the legal services to be performed is greater than the quality of legal services performed by other lawyers.
Southern Fidelity Mortgage. Think of them as a loan for everyone, offering more products than anyone else and the guaranteed lowest rates and costs in town. Of the 2,000 loans that Southern Fidelity Mortgage has pre-approved over the last 10 years, all but one have closed. That's unprecedented in the banking business. For FHA, VA, rural development, and conventional mortgages, for the best mortgage experience in town, it's Southern Fidelity Mortgage.
Call Southern Fidelity Mortgage Company at 256-656-5936.
Hey folks, this is Arthur Seaton, managing partner at University Kia, proudly saying Roll Tide and War Eagle. Stop into University Kia today and shop one of the area's largest selection of new Kias, including Fortes, Seltos, Telluride, and Popular Carnival, and fully electric EV6. View all the great specials at universitykia.com and get pre-approved in minutes so you can drive home your new Kia you really want, because we want to see you in a University Kia.
Hey there, Bob Baumhauer here. Score big deals at Baumhauer's this football season and order from our Inflation Bites menu. Try our Buffalo Wing Special with fries and a complimentary beverage for only $9.99. And what's football without a cold beer? Our pitchers of Yingling and Yingling Flight are only $7.99, served all day, 7 days a week. And huddle up, football fans. Sign up today for our free NFL Pick'em contest at Baumhauers.com for weekly prizes. Baumhauers, legendary fun and legendary food.
Each week, they lace it up. Each week, we'll present our Team of the Week.
Get it in here! I got one thing to say!
So it's time for the Bryant Bank Team of the Week presentation.
Listed as an athlete is LaShawn Van. He's a senior, and boy, is he an athlete. Van in the shotgun, has Long to his left hip on 2nd and 10. Handed to Long, darts it up. Actually, Van's going to run with it himself inside the 25-20, 15-10, 5, and he's in! Touchdown, Lee Generals! Wow!
That was LaShawn Van scoring against Madison County last week, a Thursday night game at Milton Frank Stadium, a game that Lee really exercised the running game.
Yeah, they did. They won 50-26 to go to 2-0 for the first time since 2017. LaShawn Van had an outstanding game as he had 212 all-purpose yards and was able to get the passing game going a little bit. It lead to it in addition to using his legs very, very effectively. This is a running game at Lee that's been explosive the first 2 weeks and certainly is going to start region play against Hazel Green on the road on Friday night. But their head football coach, Irvin McGuire, in his third season at Lee, is joining us now on the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline. Coach, congratulations on your team being named the Bryant Bank Team of the Week, and welcome back to the show. How are you this morning?
Good morning, guys. Thank you. I really do appreciate y'all selecting us. It's a privilege.
Yeah, Coach, let's first start off with last week, 486 yards on the ground in that win against Madison County. After going back and watching the film, your thoughts?
I thought we did a good job of them trying to take away Carlin with a lot of different movements, a lot of taking away gaps inside, and Van did a tremendous job early on and often of just pulling that read and making the most out of his runs. He had 2 runs over 40 yards, so, that's real explosive when your quarterback can be able to pull it and add to the run game like that. And then his backup, Terrell Matthews, and Demarius Carroll did an awesome job both eclipsed 50 yards on Thursday night. So, when it's a community effort like that, it bodes well for your offense.
It really does, Coach. And how did you see your offense grow? Because we know Carlin is a big part of it. He's already over 500 yards and I believe 8 touchdowns in 2 games. So he's certainly doing his job. But with the athletes you have and the speed, it allows you to also develop other parts of your offense. And talk about kind of watching like LaShawn Van do that in this game, because again, that's going to be needed down the road in region play. I know the goal is for you guys to make the playoffs for the second time in 3 seasons. You didn't make it a year ago, and with a guy like Carlin, as you said, teams are going to watch film and game plan for him, but it allows for other guys to have opportunities.
Definitely. I always joke with my office coordinator, it's nothing but the triple option. You just have to pick your poison. You have a dive option with Long, then you have the quarterback, and then you have guys on the outside in the spring game that just turns into the pitch with Brandon Johnson, Damon Hobson, and Chase Stewart, who's coming along. And Terrell Matthews lines up all over the field for us. And us having the ability to spread the ball out and get it to those different guys will help us offensively, so they can't really just key in on 1 or 2 guys.
The offense has really kind of stolen the show the last couple weeks, but defensively, it's been able to stand out there as well.
Yes, sir. We got 3 tremendous senior safeties, Tyson Pryor, Zion Thomas, and Jordy Catan, who's been doing a phenomenal job of getting us lined up. Tyson has been down in the box, been real physical in the run game, and has helped us in the pass game. Zion Thomas has been a man on fire at middle safety, rolling and getting down in the run game, making a lot of tackles for us early. He was pivotal in the spy game against Brandon in the first game against Westminster Christian. And Jordy Catan has the brains back there. He gets us lined up. He goes through all the checks. He's the guy I talked to the day of the game to make sure he has everything in line, so he gets everybody lined up.
Mm-hmm. And then, Coach, as far as the passing game, I know LaShawn attempted 17 passes. You guys, he was 9 of 17 for 83 yards. How crucial is it going to be to develop the passing game in the coming weeks in order to make a run at a region title in 6A?
Yeah, definitely. LaShawn Van's ability to play action and run the ball, it should open windows down the field. But Patrick Bailey, who didn't get to play last Thursday, he's pivotal in our passing game too. He's a young quarterback who's extremely accurate, and he allows for us to do a few things that Van doesn't. And Van allows us to do some things with his legs that Pat just can't do. So it's a good balance to be able to have both of those guys with the ability to throw the ball and do things different to kind of keep defenses off kill.
Well, Coach, you offensively and defensively have looked good, but how much has the depth been able to play a factor in this, that you've been able to put some, guys that don't have to play both ways out there on the field?
Oh, it's great that we don't play too many guys both sides, except for, maybe a couple of packages here and there. We're able to practice hard. We're able to compete. That's a big thing right there, that we can actually just go full tilt against each other, and both sides really get better. And then in the game, it shows that those guys are a lot well rested, and they're able to fly around in that fourth quarter.
Yeah, now you got your first true road trip to Hazel Green against Charlie Wilburn's squad, Coach. I know it's, again, you're trying to get off on the right foot. It's so important to be 1-0 in 6A. Region 8. What have you seen on film of Hazel Green, and talk about the challenge of going on the road and playing in a hostile environment?
Big and physical. Charlie has a great group of guys out there. Their offensive line is around about 6'3", 300 pounds across the line, and they're huge. Darius, the running back, number 21, he does a tremendous job of running really, really hard. So I'm expecting a physical game. That's been the mantra all week. Physicality. We know it's going to be tough for us to go on the road in a hostile environment like Hazel Green and really have to compete. So we have to be physical. We have to be able to take a lick and give a lick and compete throughout all 4 quarters.
Was it nice to see other guys step up? I mean, Madison County did a great job of trying to take Carlin Long away. And lots of times when that happens, a lot of the other guys sometimes can look around and be like, what do we do? What do we do? Was it great to see other guys step up and know and give them confidence that, hey, if a team was going to take Long away, that there's other guys that can make plays, and they do have the ability to make those plays?
Oh, yeah, definitely. I have utmost confidence with just about everybody that steps on that field. And those guys know their opportunities are going to come, throughout the game. Like I said, when you have the first game when Carlin has the tremendous game and Brandon Johnson has a tremendous game like they have, then, defenses are going to prepare to take those guys away. And that's another opportunity for the rest of the guys to just step into a role. Naaman Hobson, like I said, caught 2 balls, but he has been tremendous in next-level blocking. Has actually been springing those guys forward, him and Chase Stewart, big body guys who are used to really blocking and moving their feet because they're basketball players. They've been willing blockers, and so their opportunity is going to come. Everybody's going to put everybody in the box, and then we're going to have to go outside. And I think they'll be ready when their time comes.
Well, and Coach, I know you've mentioned to us about Naaman joining your program last year as the season began. He's still really coming into his own as a football player, as we are now 2 full games in, and before this senior season for him in this first region game. How have you seen him continue to develop and blossom so far as a senior?
Well, just being a natural athlete that he is, we put him in position to do a lot of things to get the ball. And like I said, his willingness to block is showing his buy-in. And, when you get buy-in from those basketball guys, they really – well, I'm not even going to call him a basketball guy. He's a football player. He's really turning into one. He's played some free safety. He comes up to me every day, Coach, I'm going to free safety today, and he really wants to be better at it. So, when he has that type of energy coming to practice, it just makes it so much better for us. And I continue to see him to grow at both positions, wide receiver and free safety, in the coming weeks.
Well, Coach, a lot of hard work was put in the offseason. A lot of hard work was put in going into that league or to the Madison County game. What does it mean this week for the kids to be rewarded with the Bryant Bank Team of the Week honor?
Oh, it's always great to be recognized for a team victory. Like I said, that first week was full of a lot of individual accolades, and it's just good for the whole team when those team accolades start to present themselves. So, everybody feels a part of it. Everybody was excited for Carlin, but, it feels good to get a team award.
Well, and then I would be remiss if I didn't ask this question, because you guys honored him this past off season, renaming the athletic facility there in his honor. But this week, Tennessee going to pay homage to Conrad Holloway. Going to wear some special jerseys in honor of his era as the starting quarterback for Tennessee. I know you guys had a chance to spend some quality time with him when you renamed the athletic facility after him. Just talk about once again, a positive, aspect of Conrad's being honored by his alma mater at Tennessee, and also at a time where it's really a neat situation and great timing. Sometimes the good Lord works in great ways, but having you guys be Team of the Week, the week that Tennessee's going to honor Mr. Holloway.
Man, it's always a tremendous honor to even just have Conrad Holloway in our presence, and he did a phenomenal job when he came down, and the kids take pride in their facility. They really appreciate the things that's going in there, and just them to be able to honor him and continue to honor him for all the great things he did. Those smoke gray uniforms with the orange sleeves. Most Alabama fans won't like that orange, but it's a nifty jersey. Just anytime we can have any alumni come back. Thomas Boyd has stepped on campus a couple of times this fall, and just when they get to see those guys in the presence and just have a small little conversation or pick up a nugget from those type of men, it's tremendous for those guys going forward.
Really is. Yeah. But it's great for Lee. And Coach, real quick, what's going to be the key to getting a third straight win and keeping this roll going on the road at Hazel Green?
Physicality. We're definitely going to have to match their physicality up front. We're going to have to be fast. We're going to have to be violent. And we're going to have to be in a position to carry it into the fourth quarter with a chance to win. Like I said, they can be explosive, but I also think that they're just going to be a grounded-out type team. So we're just looking forward to a good old-fashioned knockout, drag-out, and hopefully we come out on top.
All right, Coach. Congratulations once again.
Thank you so much. I appreciate you guys.
All right, Irvin McGuire there. And man, 3 straight wins to start the year, possibly for Lee. Then you get May Jemison and Coleman after that before you're bye week.
Well, you do. You have a huge rivalry game the next week against May Jemison. That's a rivalry that goes all the way back to, of course, the Johnson Lee days, and I was privileged to see the final Lee Johnson game inside, and that was a sellout crowd inside the Von Braun Center Probst Arena. So it's always been a huge rivalry between those two schools, and Rico White is now taking over. May Jemison got a big win last week over Tanner, so they're starting to turn their fortunes around, you would hope, and that would be a big rivalry and a big region game matchup. And then so Lee has a chance with a couple of big wins. If they could get those wins, it would put even more emphasis on that matchup with the Coleman Bearcats right before their bye week. So again, you got to give Lee a lot of credit. And it's really cool that they're the Bryant Bank Team of the Week. We appreciate Bryant Bank for their sponsorship, and we're going to look forward to being out there, this week and awarding those young men the $500 from our great sponsor.
The back half of their schedule is where it gets tough.
Oh,
you got Fort Payne, Gadsden City, and Buckhorn. It goes Fort Payne, Buckhorn, Gadsden City. They're all three region games coming out of that.
Yeah, Fort Payne's averaging. I mean, Lee's averaging 47 points in 2 games, and Fort Payne's averaging.
Not too far behind.
Yeah, I think Fort Payne may be averaging even more. I think they may be averaging 50. So Chris Elmore and those guys are really good, and they lost their first game of the year, I think, to Scottsboro, 56-51. But they can definitely score, and certainly if Lee's going to win a region championship and also make a run at a playoff berth, those games are going to be huge. But first they got to take care of a road trip to Hazel Green and then try to get to 3-0. I think Jimmy Lay told me it would be the first time since 2011 Lee would be 3-0.
All right. I know it's 46, Floyd. I know you're holding, but we got to get a break in. Give us 2 minutes and we'll get right back to you.
You're listening to Talkin' Ball on 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
Our last reported accident was Greenbrier Parkway off 565. HPD was there. They canceled the ambulance in Decatur going to Gordon Terry and Woodall. Apparently, it's going to turn out to be a no injury. Mooresville and Huntsville Browns Ferry reported with an injury, and they were doing a full investigation at Pulaski Pike and Cora Hill. Sounds like that one's pretty well wrapped up. D&L Refrigeration repairs heating and air conditioning units for homes and businesses. D&L 256-652. 1207, state license 08091. Captain Nick in the Jordan Lane Popeye Skywatch Traffic Center.
Tom Abraham here for my friends at Alumni Hall. Alumni Hall is the ultimate shopping experience for Alabama and Auburn fans. Located right here in Huntsville, come shop the best selection of officially licensed apparel, hats, Yeti, accessories, and gifts. Whether you're heading to the spring game or shopping graduation gifts or just love to show your school pride daily, come see us at Alumni Hall. University students, faculty, and military receive 10% off in store, and you can earn cash back with our Hall Pass rewards. Alumni Hall, located in Bridge Street Shopping Center, or shop anytime at alumnihall.com.
Specializing in simple and affordable rentals, McCurry Van and Car Rental can make sure you have just the right vehicle for your next family vacation, weekend getaway, or if you just need transportation while your vehicle is being repaired. McCurry carries Ford Transit vans and Mercedes Sprinter vans, trucks and work vans, and more. And they offer discounted rental rates for long-term rentals. Now with 4 locations: Athens, Muscle Shoals, Coleman, and Huntsville. Log on McCurryRentals.com to make your reservation now. That's McCurryRentals.com.
So, what's your favorite meal at Chick-fil-A? We decided to ask the experts at the South Memorial Chick-fil-A.
Hi, my name is Talon from the South Memorial Chick-fil-A. My favorite meal is a 3-count strip with Polynesian sauce, waffle fries, and a Coke Zero.
Hi, my name is Noah from the South Memorial Parkway Chick-fil-A. My favorite meal is the number 2 spicy sandwich meal with mac and cheese and bacon and a lemonade.
So, what's your favorite meal? Now, find out for yourself today at the South Memorial Chick-fil-A.
If you work in a dangerous or logistically intense industry, you know good training can be a challenge. There are training costs, safety concerns, and difficulty replicating real-world scenarios. There's a better way used right now in the Army and in all our armed services to better prepare our heroes, and it's available to you in your organizations. Higher Echelon's Game Development Team is revolutionizing learning in military training, dangerous industry, STEM, and sports performance domains with cutting-edge virtual training that immerses you in lifelike scenarios without the cost and safety concerns for trainees. With Higher Echelon's game-based training, you'll experience realistic simulations, precision accuracy, and unparalleled safety. Higher Echelon founder Dr. Joe Ross is retired Army who played and later coached for the cadets and puts that experience to use. His team has been building cutting-edge virtual training environments for soldiers and clients for a decade. Higher Echelon, the name you can trust for advanced training solutions. Reach out at higherechelon.com to get your free consultation. Go Higher and go Army.
Isn't the story of the prodigal son an amazing story? Basically, a rowdy boy who literally wished his father dead ran away and consumed his wealth with hard and fast living. Yet the father looked for his return every day, and when the boy got tired of eating pig slop, he decided to return. What did the father do? As soon as he saw that boy, he ran to him, threw his arms around him, and killed the fatted calf for a great celebration. Hey, I'm John Dees, pastor of the Cross Point Church. If you're looking for a church home, come see us, smack dab across the street from the YMCA in Madison.
I'm attorney Gary Lackey. If you've been injured and need a lawyer right now, do you know who you really get?
I'm attorney Jennifer Lackey. You want to talk to your lawyer. My clients talk to me.
And me. I'm attorney Justin Lackey. We're the ones that you talk to.
And we're the ones who handle your personal injury case.
And we'll take care of it.
The Lackey Law Firm. 1-800-4-RIGHTS.
No representation is made that the quality of the legal services to be performed is greater than the quality of legal services performed by other lawyers.
There you go. Welcome back. Talking Ball, 97.7 ESPN The Zone. Scott Tyson, Drew DeArmond, 7:51 on a Wednesday morning. In case you missed it off the top of the show, Grady the Greek has spoken. Our sixth grader prognosticator says 27-23 Alabama over Texas. And we just got done with Irving McGuire, head coach of the League Generals. They are this week's 97.7 ESPN The Zone Bryant Bank Team of the Week. 256-576-4977. That's the number to the phone lines. You can join us just like Floyd is doing right now. Good morning, Floyd.
Good morning, guys.
Morning, Floyd.
Hey, just the word you were having with the coach from Lee there.
Irving McGuire,
yeah. That brought to mind article I read, and I don't know what the. Of course, I know I think it's a private school, but I watched a couple of weeks ago where Saraland played Lipscomb Academy out of Tennessee on ESPN. Read yesterday where the quarterback from Lipscomb Academy is transferring after 3 games.
He sure is. He's transferring back home to Mississippi.
Wow.
After 3 games.
Yeah.
Wow.
Gotta love the transfer portal in high school football.
That's stupid.
Oh, it is. It's utter stupidity. I mean, obviously he was trying to transfer to Lipscomb Academy to play against a higher level of competition. He was homesick or whatever, didn't really like it, decided to come back. Plus, Lipscomb Academy has not exactly been setting the woods on fire against this national schedule now that Trent Dilfer's not there. Kevin Mawai, the well-known all-pro center for the Titans, is the head coach. And also played at LSU. But, again, this is I've seen kids do it, like, James Smith did it for Carver Montgomery. He went to IMG for, a year and then came back to Carver for his senior year. But it's very rare. Asa Martin did it for a year. But it's just it's rare to see you do it within the season. Now, we've seen in-season transfers here. Micah Pettis went from Sparkman to James Clemens, but it's just an unusual thing where a kid moves out of state and then comes back, and I guess he's going to be eligible to play at his high school.
I was just going to say, how does that work? I mean, can you come back and play this season for said school? Is that?
I would think he could, or he would stay at Lipscomb Academy. I mean, because what's the point? You need to play. He hasn't even committed to a college yet. I mean, I know Auburn is a school recruiting him. There's several, but I mean, come on. I think that there's got to be a way for him to be able to play, or he wouldn't be coming back, would be my guess.
Yeah, I agree, but man, I mean.
Oh, I saw it yesterday, and I was like, "Are you kidding me? You got to be kidding me!" I mean, wow.
Yeah, I mean, even if he was homesick, I mean, what are we teaching our kids, man? I mean, put your big boy boxers on and stick it out for a couple of months, and then go home. I don't understand it. I guess I'm too old to understand it, I guess. But that was I was amazed when I read that. But I tell you, I'm with you, Drew, on the Texas-Bama game, especially if they can keep the game cleaned up. 2 penalties like they had against Middle Tennessee. If they can no turnovers and cut down on the penalties, I don't see it being real close.
I would agree, and again, like we said, what Floyd's been talking about is Deuce Knight. He announced yesterday that he was leaving he's from the state of Mississippi, and at one time was thought maybe to be going to commit to Ole Miss, but Auburn is extremely heavily involved there. But let's not misunderstand something. He's a 2025. Now, he could reclassify it. I don't know if that was part of the reason why he thought about going to Lipscomb Academy, but he's coming back, and I would think it would be to finish out his junior season at his high school and then stay there. Yeah. But we will see.
He didn't even announce that he was transferring to Lipscomb until July 30th.
Oh, yeah. This was like late in the summer.
So he's only been there for a month and a half. Yeah, if that.
Not even that. Yeah.
Yeah. That's I don't. There's got to be some regulations. I mean, and Lipscomb is a private school, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
He's going back to George County High School in Mississippi.
Okay. Well, that's a pretty good program down there, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, I think George County is pretty good in the state of Mississippi. Our good friend Jake Wimberly could probably nail it down for us there. What kind of impact this could have with Deuce Knight coming back. And Lipscomb Academy is a 2-time defending private school state champion in Tennessee, but they played a IMG Academy. They played Saraland, and it's been a rough start for the season for them. And obviously the young man, how he got to Lipscomb Academy, who knows? But he's obviously homesick and he wants to come back.
Right. Okay. I just wanted to ask you about that this morning.
Thanks, Lloyd.
Okay, thanks a lot.
Yeah. They did get a win over Hugh Freeze in Briarcrest.
Right. Okay.
Hugh Freeze's former school last week, 42-20. But they said Knight, according to Mawai, he has not specified his next move. But I mean, I would be shocked if he's not going back home to play in Mississippi. And that's above my head. I don't really know as far as what the rules are. Like if you go from a private school back to a public school, and if your family lives in the district, I don't know.
I mean,
how
here
that works.
I'd imagine you could, because I mean, from a private to a public, I think you can play, but I don't know if you can play in the same season right
I don't
away.
think you can. A lot of times you have to sit out.
Yeah.
So I don't know. It's extremely complicated.
Makes my head hurt. All right, hour 1 is just about done. Hour 2 is going to get underway. More college football conversation. The Auburn Tigers getting ready to trek across the country to take on Cal. We'll hear from Hugh Freeze. He's not happy about the trip. We'll let him explain.
With us today, Dr. Tracy Lowry of Best Vein Care of Huntsville.
When we evaluate a patient and they indeed have significant venous disease, most third-party payers, private insurance, Medicare, require us to treat every patient conservatively at least 90 days. Conservative treatment includes increasing ambulation, elevation of the legs, and the wearing of compression stockings. It's very common for folks to come see us in March or April wanting to have their veins fixed before they go into swimsuits starting in June. When we see someone in March or April, they're going to require at least 90 days of conservative treatment before we can even go to the insurance carrier to get permission to treat their veins. So if you think you have a venous problem, now is the time to come in and get a free screening so we can determine whether or not you need something evaluated. If you have a vein problem or you think you may have a vein problem, now's the time to contact us at bestveincarehuntsville.com.
WCZN, Union Grove, Huntsville, Alabama. 97.7 ESPN, The Zone. Welcome to Talkin' Ball with Scott Tyson and Drew DeArmond. Call into the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline now, 256-576-4977. That's 256-576-4977. Now, here's Scott and Drew.
There you go. Hour 2 now underway. Talking Ball, 97.7 ESPN The Zone. Scott Tyson, Drew DeArmond with you. The AP poll, the newest edition of the AP poll, was released yesterday. Because remember, 5 straight days of football, always after week 1. It's going to come out on Tuesday. Georgia remains number 1, Michigan number 2. Georgia gets 58 first-place votes. Michigan gets 2. Alabama does slide up 1 spot to number 3. They do not get a first-place vote. Florida State, though, moves inside the top 5. They get 3 first-place votes. Ohio State drops a spot even after. They dropped 2 spots, my bad, after winning 23-3 against Indiana, down to number 5. USC, Penn State, Washington, Tennessee climbs into 9, Notre Dame 10. Those are your top 10 teams. Rest of the league, LSU falls down to number 14. And then you have Ole Miss checking in at number 20, Texas A&M at number 23, Duke is in at number 21, Clemson is in at number 24. That means this week in New Orleans, you get Ole Miss at number 20, Texas A&M at number 23, but Tulane is number 24. So it's Ole Miss and Tulane this week in what could be a sneaky, sneaky ball game.
Yeah, it's one of the more interesting ones, I think, in the country, because Willie Fritz and Tulane, what they did in the Cotton Bowl last year, when they were able to knock off USC and Caleb Williams, in the Heisman Trophy winner, and they took a lot of momentum into the offseason. And it's also unusual that usually this game you'd think would be played in Oxford and Ole Miss would have home field advantage, but it's being played in New Orleans, and so going to be very interesting to see what kind of performance Ole Miss puts on. I know they were very, very impressive last week. They scored 73 points, and so. But again, you have to also understand that, and that's why you have to also be a little cautious with the Alabama-Texas game it works both ways because neither team played a great opponent,
right?
And so you have to. It's interesting to kind of follow. Okay. How much are these teams going to improve from week 1 to week 2? Did it have more to do with the opponent? I mean, how good actually are they? And then so we'll find that out with a lot of teams this weekend. But again, Ole Miss, they dropped 73 on Mercer after we watched Mercer struggle with UNA. So we'll see. But I think it's going to be really interesting to watch that game and see, because Tulane under Willie Fritz has improved by leaps and bounds.
Yep.
And certainly this would be another huge step in that right direction if they can pull this off. I still like Ole Miss in the game, but certainly Willie Fritz, it hasn't been easy, but I'll just say Tulane has been very impressive, and in what they've been able to do and the consistency they've been able to establish within that program, which they hadn't had it in a lot of ways. And in South Alabama, we talked about it. We talked with J.D. Byers, during our tailgate tour week. They were coming off a 10-win season, and they went to New Orleans and got whacked by 20. So, and I think South Alabama is still going to be pretty good.
Well,
so that shows you that Tulane's a legit football team, and they can. I'm not saying they're going to beat Ole Miss, but I think they can definitely test them.
This is where, and this is why Ole Miss is paying Pete Golding what they're paying him, though, is for games like this.
Good luck.
To go in there. It is in Bourbon Street, so maybe they can.
Well, but make sure somebody has an ankle monitor on him or something, and they got a GA that can be a chaperone.
I'm saying the fans too might need a drink.
Yeah, they might middle of the first quarter.
All right, Brandon's with us on the phone lines. Good morning, Brandon.
I remember my first trip to Bourbon Street in 2015, I think it was, to see the Falcons on a Thursday night. And the one thing I remember the most from that trip is this phrase right here: "That is a man."
You know what? Mine was in 2004 when Auburn played Virginia Tech
in the bowl game,
in the Sugar Bowl. Yeah. That was one of my, that's exactly what I was told to was, let's go. That is a man.
No, that's a man. Keep it moving.
Yep.
Keep it moving.
And those that have been on Bourbon Street know exactly where we're talking about.
Oh, yeah.
Yep. That place is a zoo, a complete and total zoo. The thing that gets me is you can get the homeless people to stand in line to get your beignets at that Cafe Du Monde, and for $5 they'll text you when they get to the front of the line. Now that is some entrepreneurship right there.
Nice.
That is people that are down on life, but they're still going to make money. That way you don't have to stand in line for 2 hours.
See, I've been very fortunate. I've never had to stay in line for 2 hours to get beignets. Usually I am lucky and I just get a table. And so I have been very, very fortunate every time I've been there.
When we went, there were people everywhere.
Yeah.
Like it was, we tried to get on the boat and do dinner, couldn't get on there and do that. It was all blown out, so we did a lot of walking, went to some of the casinos. After the game, we were dodging beer bottles because people were wanting to throw them at Falcons fans, and you can't fight everybody on Bourbon Street. Sometimes you just got to dodge them and walk. So, very different experience on a Thursday night in New Orleans. A couple weeks ago, Buford took on St. Francis in a national matchup and beat them 18-0.
Yeah, I saw that, and I saw the unfortunate aftermath.
Yep, the big fight that happened.
Yeah.
Well, Creekside High School decided they wanted to get them some, so they went out to Made or Die.
Uh-oh.
Four touchdowns in the first quarter, 3 in the second quarter, and then I think their third string scored a touchdown in the third quarter, and their guys that cleaned up the locker room scored another one in the fourth quarter. So, note to self, if you think you want to get on TV and go play Creekside, play Made or Die out there in California, don't. You don't want that. We probably should have sent Buford. It might have at least been somewhat of a game if we would have done that. But that was a mauling. I got to watch it Friday night after our games here were over because it's so late over there when it came on. And, man, that was just a complete dismantling. They made it look like they were playing a peewee team. And Creekside's a good football team.
Yeah.
They're not a joke. But Made or Die just, oh, dear God. Just watching them just run around people, can't get hands on nobody. They're so much faster than everybody. I kind of now, that kid y'all were talking about that went to Mississippi and come back, he probably went over there and got a look at what those kids were at some of those places and was like, never mind. And he just wants to do the Homer Simpson back into the shrubs, back to where he came from.
Yeah. Yeah, I would agree. I mean, that was another reason I was very confident that Bryce Young was going to be able to transition quickly. I know the great JT, the flop, came from there too, but still, I mean, that program at Mater Dei, they play the best teams in the country. It's run like a college program. I know Phil Rollinson retired, I believe after last year, but they're still a machine, and I mean, they got so much talent. I mean, Auburn just got a commitment from DeAndre Carter, who's maybe the top interior offensive lineman, along with Casey Poe in the country. One went to Alabama, one went to Auburn. But, I mean, they just got so many good players. And I'm not talking about just seniors. I'm talking about just in the program, period. And then, of course, we know Alabama picked up a DB there as well, one of their corners, and so Xavion Brown. So it's a great program.
He's amazing.
Yeah.
That dude looks like he's on roller skates out there.
Yeah, no question.
He's so fluid and runs so well. And how about our Braves getting beat by a trash team last night? They were almost, if they'd have won last night, they'd have been one game away from having a 2-to-1 win-loss ratio.
Yeah.
Come on, beat bad teams. It ain't hard.
This late in the season, it's hard. I mean, you're sitting with a 14-game edge in the division, and you're playing a bad team, and you're just like,
well, and
let's get to the playoffs.
They gave Soroka another opportunity, and he's gone back on the injured list with numbness in his fingers. So
that's what I was going to ask you about. Have they diagnosed an injury, or is it just intermittent?
I don't think they've diagnosed an injury yet, but he's probably done for the year. I would think they're going to probably err on the side of caution, and that'll probably be it for Soroka this year.
Brandon Beachy 2.0. God, I was fearing that. He has to have another one. I think that's probably going to be the end of his starting days. He'll probably have to go the Smoltzy route.
Well, we'll see.
Well, roll tide, gentlemen.
All right, thanks, Brandon. All right, let's go to Bambino. Good morning, Bambino.
Good morning. Good call, Brandon. Go, Brandon.
There we go.
I always like that. I had a couple of questions, but just a real quick note. I'll tell my agent when I tell you this. The first time I went, of course, I worked in Louisiana, South Louisiana, off and on for years. But my first time going, I went to the Republican National Convention in '88 as an adult. Now, of course, I went with my parents to the World's Fair before that in '84 a couple of times. Queens lived down there, but that's how long it's been since the first time I went. And of course, I got a culture shock to do from Sand Mountain, but I stayed at the Superdome, and that was before it was a crack motel, and they probably ain't even there now. And it stayed for $18. And, 18 a night, and I stayed 4 nights. But anyway, what my question was, I can't remember this guy's name that was flying all over the ball Saturday against Middle Tennessee. It was either, maybe it was 24 or 42 or something. Every time you look at one of those runners, he was on the tackle or something. Who was that?
You're probably talking about number 40. He had 5 tackles. He had a strip fumble and then in a recovery on the same play. He is Kendrick Blackshire.
Okay. Does he have it seemed like this guy had a neck roll on. I'm not sure, but something on his neck. But anyway, I just really never did get a chance to see his name wrote on the back.
Right.
Whoever that dude was, he was in on every play nearly.
Mm-hmm. He had a really good second half, no doubt.
Another thing, I just caught brief comments on the Texas fiasco last year about the banding upper deck and the hot locker room. Did you say they were going to do them that way, or you don't know?
Yeah, Texas band and fans are going to be in the upper deck.
Yes.
That's, what's good to do. Maybe they'll have some heating and cooling issues in the locker room. They done that to LSU about 4 or 5 years ago when they played.
Oh, you mean, when Burrow went over there and beat them, yeah.
Yeah, they did that to them. Now, you can't do that. But if you do it, don't expect not to be done to you. But anyway, I just was going to check on that. I really think that's good. And I don't think Sarkisian had anything to do with that last year. That was some of the...
No, the head coach, this is going to be somewhere along the lines of maintenance and other people along the ways. I mean, I don't think the head coach is doing that. And like I said, Nick Saban probably didn't call Greg Byrne and say, hey, let's move him up to the upper deck. That was a Greg Byrne call all the way. And Greg Byrne even went on the record and said, hey, this was done to us last year. We're just going to stay true to what was done to us last year.
Mm-hmm.
So
I believe in equality.
Yep. that we do know.
All right.
Thank you, Bambino. Appreciate it.
Yeah. So, all right, let's get a break in. When we come back, we'll hear from Hugh Freeze as Auburn treks 2,300 miles away.
You're listening to Talkin' Ball on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Had a report of power lines down at Whitesburg and Drake. May be a little bit of a problem coming through that area. Everything else accident-wise appears to have been cleared. You be careful. We're going to have a lot of folks in last-minute dash mode this morning. Snelling has immediate need for an admin professional with receiving experience. It's a contract assignment in South Huntsville. Snelling, how the area's best companies hire talent. Huntsville.snelling.com. Captain Nick in the North Parkway, Popeye's Skywatch Traffic Center.
You've got to experience Toyotathon at Bill Penny Toyota. They've got the selection with over 700 new Toyotas to choose from. And they've got the extras with Bill Penny perks and a 10-year unlimited warranty. So get on over to Bill Penny Toyota today and experience Toyotathon. Bill Penny Toyota in Huntsville and online at BillPennyToyota.com. Bill Penny's Toyota 10-year unlimited warranty is valid through the 10th year of ownership. Valid on new vehicles only. See dealer for details.
Normally, when you call a roofing company, all you hear is, you need a new roof. Not when you call Fleming Roofing and Restoration. Since 1965, the folks at Fleming have been focused on what you need, whether it's an easy repair or a full roof replacement, commercial or residential. And when it comes to storm damage, you want Fleming on your side. They know all the ins and outs of insurance claims and will guide you through the entire process. Log on FlemingHSV.com and book your free estimate today. Fleming Roofing and Restoration. We show up.
Are you in the market for a recreational vehicle? Do you want to get out and see more of this beautiful country? Well, imagine hearing the laughter of your little ones enjoying gooey s'mores by a cozy campfire and making lasting memories with your friends and family from the comfort of a new camper. We can make your dreams come true at Hall's RV. With over 15 years in the camping business, we know how to get our customers into the perfect camper. We have several models and floor plans here for you to choose from, both new and used. We're family owned and operated with fantastic deals and great service. Everyone wants to work with people they can trust, so come on down to Hall's RV and get the deal of a lifetime. We'll treat you right and get you on the road in the camper of your dreams. Visit us on Highway 431 in Albertville. Hall's RVs, where we sell fun. Or see us on the web at www.hallsrvsales.com.
Injuries at work happen all the time in Alabama. So do motor vehicle and slip and fall accidents. If you're hurt at work or injured in an accident, I want you to call my good friends at Pond Lehocky Giordano. That's Pond Lehocky, Alabama's injury law firm. They got your back just like they've got mine. For personalized legal support, reach out to Pond Lehocky at 855-774-3838 or pondlehocky.com.
The representation is made that the quality of the legal services to be performed is greater than the quality of legal services performed by other lawyers.
Have you ever turned your back on God? Have you ever absolutely known the right thing to do and just turned around and walked away in disobedience? I know that I have. Aren't we thankful for our great and merciful God who loves us and forgives us and remembers our sin no more? I'm so thankful that his mercies are fresh every day. I need that, and I suspect you do too. Hey, I'm John Dees, pastor of Cross Point Church, and if you're looking for a church home, come see us. We're smack dab across the street from the YMCA in Madison, and check us out at cpcfamily.org.
So, what's your favorite meal at Chick-fil-A? We decided to ask the experts at the South Memorial Chick-fil-A.
Hi, my name is Curtis from the South Memorial Chick-fil-A. My favorite meal is the spicy breakfast bowl with a large hash brown and a cherry coke.
Hi, my name is Tyler from the South Memorial Chick-fil-A. My favorite meal is the number one with a little bit of buffalo on the sandwich and some mayonnaise and a Coca-Cola to drink.
So, what's your favorite meal? Now, find out for yourself today at the South Memorial Chick-fil-A.
There you go. Welcome back. Talking Ball, 97.7 ESPN The Zone. Scott Tyson, Drew DeArmond with you on a Wednesday morning. Coming up on Saturday, the Auburn Tigers will be traveling. Well, they will be traveling on Saturday. They're going to be leaving very soon to head out to take on the Cal Golden Bears. And the game is going to kick off at 9:30 Central Time. That will equal the latest kickoff for an Auburn football game in Auburn history. 1976, they kicked off against Arizona. That was also at 9:30. First meeting between the Tigers and the Golden Bears Auburn is 10-3, but 0-2 on the road against current members of the Pac-12. And Auburn is 0-3 all-time against games played in the state of California, those being at Santa Clara in 1936, which we all remember, and at number 18, USC at the Coliseum in 2002. And then the last one, obviously, was against number 1 Florida State in the 2014 BCS National Championship game. So the state of California has not been kind to the Auburn Tigers. Neither has been traveling out west, and if Hugh Freeze had his way, he wouldn't be going out there at all.
Before. The only experience I had was BYU, which we were from the East Coast, so it was a long trip. But I told our team when I taught my lesson for the week this morning with them, and that's one of the challenges I have for me is to embrace it, because I don't like it. I don't like scheduling teams on the West Coast. I just soon play somebody over here on the East Coast, but it was done, and so me complaining or not embracing it is not the proper response. And so I haven't. The only one I've done is BYU. It was a challenge, and this one is even further and another time zone. I think it creates some challenges, but this will be a good test for all of us: coaches, training staff, nutritionists, strength staff, support staff, players. How do we handle, if things are a little uncomfortable or it's not exactly the way we want it? And I'm speaking to myself as much as anyone. And you've got to play a really good football team. And at their place, when our body times are 9:30 or 10 at night and we're kicking it off. And so all of that's going to be a challenge, but you know what? That's what life is. And so how we approach it and the attitude we have for the opportunity we have, it ought to be one of gratitude and thankfulness, and we got to suck it up and fly a long flight, and that's what we got to do. And we get another opportunity to represent this school, our conference, and each other, and so let's go make the most of it.
Strong feelings there from Hugh Freeze.
Yeah, no doubt. Certainly, Cal Berkeley was very impressive against North Texas, and North Texas is a program that's been a bowl team at times, and it's been a solid football program out of Conference USA. And Cal won it 58-21, and so you got to give them a lot of credit for and of course they did it right after knowing that they're going to the ACC, and they're talking about some travel for Cal Berkeley. I mean, they're going to be traveling all over their league to play, no question about it. So, but I mean, it should be an interesting matchup. Cal's got some interesting offensive weapons. Now they have a injury at the quarterback position. Sam Jackson sounds like he is going to have a chance to potentially play. And he's a transfer in his own right, but we'll see. I was watching a little bit of the press conference with Justin Wilcox yesterday, and all he would say is he's moving around, and that they will see it later in the week, kind of where what his status is, so to speak, because he played briefly, was 3 for 4 for 33 yards, in the game the other day. So we'll see. He didn't play that long, and so. Certainly, he was at TCU before, ironically, and so but in his stead, Ben Finley went 24-34 for nearly 300 yards and a touchdown, and they have Jaden Ott, who's a heck of a running back, had 188 on 20 carries,
right?
And Auburn has had trouble stopping the run so far. And they will be playing out there in the land of fruits and nuts. So we'll see. We just don't drink the water.
All right, so Robbie Ashford rushed for 3 touchdowns. We all saw what he did against UMass. That there, by the way, those 3 rushing touchdowns, the most by an Auburn quarterback since 2010 when Cam Newton did it. Hugh Freeze gives us the grade, though, on all of the quarterbacks.
Robbie didn't have to make many decisions, so But boy, was he's really talented and vital to our success. He will have to make some in the future. The Peyton he had 3 decisions that were wrong, and I expect more. I expect him not to make the ones he made, and he knows that. But he played solid. You just would like that decision making to be around 100% on, particularly in the run pass world, where he's deciding whether it's a run or pass. Those need to be near 100%.
You seem to be coaching them pretty hard on the sideline. Is that what that was?
I'm crazy sometimes, but yeah, I'll get frustrated. I don't lie, and I tell them that. Look, but here's the deal. I'll play the next play with you now. My love for them doesn't change. Their performance has nothing to do with how. I learned this from my father, who's a tough man, but I went through a very difficult stretch, and my father taught me, listen, I love you. And it's not based on your performance. And so as long as our players know that I think I can coach them hard, and they see that, and they see a consistency, and hey, he don't treat me indifferent, after the game, whether I threw the 4 touchdowns or 3 picks, yeah, I'm disappointed. Yeah, I feel like I ought to coach you better, and I felt like you ought to played better, but that doesn't affect. And I think Peyton knows that. And there were 2 things that happened in that same series, and he knew it. And I think when he missed the first one, and I'm yelling and screaming, which I probably need to. I'm figuring out who they are, and they're figuring out who I am. I think when I do that to him, he presses a little bit, and he handed the ball off, and the safety triggered so hard, and the safety made the hit like 1 yard in the backfield. So how do you not see that? And that ball should be thrown. And so I'm doing with my antics over there, and he probably sees that. And then about 2 plays later, the darn safety stays as high as he can, and we pull it and throw it. And those are the 2 things that can happen.
There you go, little Hugh Freeze kind of grading the quarterbacks and Peyton Thorne's performance. And I thought it was interesting, Drew, that he did say Robbie Ashford hasn't had to make a decision. So in other words, everything that Robbie Ashford went in there to do was specifically designed for him to do. He didn't have to make any decisions. Yeah,
it was a mauling, as everybody expected. They weren't tested, so they'll be tested for the first time this weekend. At least they should be, and so they will know a lot more about themselves because, again, Cal went on the road and won in Denton, Texas, 58-21. They didn't even play that game at home. They traveled to Denton. I know it's unusual, but they did. They traveled to.
I would have thought Texas. That one would have been at home. I would have assumed that one would have been at home.
Yeah, so they traveled across the country and won. So we'll see how they react in their home opener and how Auburn reacts against a more talented team than the UMass Minutemen.
We got to get a break in because when we come back, Josh Pate will join us. Let's get his thoughts on week 1 of the college football season as a whole, and what is he watching for in week 2.
You're listening to Talkin' Ball on 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
From the Fox 54 Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Emily Owen. For this Wednesday, expect a mostly sunny sky. High temperatures going to be topping out in the lower 90s for the afternoon. Scattered showers and thunderstorms going to be possible in the afternoon as well. Heading into your Wednesday night, we'll keep rain in the forecast through at least midnight. Otherwise, we'll see a partly cloudy sky. Low temperatures going to be falling into the lower 70s. I'm meteorologist Emily Owen on your home for ESPN Radio 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
Just got a wreck at Parkway and Airport. That one apparently is on the access road. It's a no injury. And we had a report of wires down at Whitesburg and Drake. Be careful coming through that area. Everything else appears to have been cleared at this point. You be careful on the rest of your trip in. No hose, no mask. You could ask Dr. Sandman, that's Dr. Sandlin, for the medically proven benefits of the Somnodent for sleep apnea and for snoring. Dr. Sandlin, 350-CARE. Captain Eck in the North Parkway Popeye Skywatch Traffic Center.
Specializing in simple and affordable rentals, McCurry Van and Car Rental can make sure you have just the right vehicle for your next family vacation, weekend getaway, or if you just need transportation while your vehicle is being repaired. McCurry carries Ford Transit vans and Mercedes Sprinter vans, trucks and work vans, and more. And they offer discounted rental rates for long-term rentals. Now with 4 locations: Athens, Muscle Shoals, Coleman, and Huntsville. Log on McCurryRentals.com to make your reservation now. That's McCurryRentals.com.
Terms and conditions posted at textplan.us. Texting enrolls for recurring automated marketing messages. Message and data rates may apply. Reply STOP to opt out. Terms and conditions apply. Visit ISSA online for details.
Tired of the 9-to-5 grind? Looking for something different that's flexible, fulfilling, and pays well? How'd you like to get paid to work out? Now you can with ISSA, the global leader in personal fitness certification.
There's a huge demand for certified personal trainers right now. And once you get ISSA certified, they guarantee you'll get a job. Trainers can make as much as $200 an hour. Yes, I said $200 an hour. And with ISSA, you can be certified in as little as 4 weeks. Just text BENCH to 323232 now to get started for free. You do everything at your own pace and 100% online.
Pursue your passion in specializations like yoga, nutrition, or strength training. Live life on your terms. Get certified and train like you want. Start your own business, work at a gym, or make health and fitness your side hustle. Whatever works for you. Just don't wait.
Get started today and be certified in as little as 4 weeks. Just text BENCH to 323232 right now to get started for free. Text the word BENCH to 323232. Text BENCH to 323232.
This is Wes Neighbors sitting here with Philip Love of not only Eagle Insulation, now he represents Eagle Companies. Eagle through the years have added several companies to help individuals or builders through their construction renovation process. Eagle is known to represent quality, efficiency, and professionalism. Philip, I know you do insulation, but do you do masonry?
We do.
Do you do grading, erosion control, and dirt hauled off?
We do.
Do you do after paint, which includes shower doors, mirrors, shelving blinds, and bath hardware?
Yes, we do, Wes.
Do you do landscaping and irrigation?
Yes, we do.
So basically, Eagle can help you all along your process of building your house or doing renovations. So do you do plumbing?
We do not, Wes, but we can find somebody to do it.
Just give them time. They'll be there. Anyway, call Eagle Insulation at
256-755-1556.
Eagle saves you time. Eagle saves you money. Call Eagle today.
Thanks, Wes.
Do you have discomfort in your legs? Varicose veins can affect not only how your legs look, but how they feel. Symptoms of varicose veins include pain, swelling, aching, heaviness, and fatigue. Dr. Tracy Lowry of Best Vein Care of Huntsville can diagnose and treat your varicose veins with the latest minimally invasive techniques. Diagnosis and treatment is covered by most insurances. Call 256-715-7151 to schedule your free screening. Go to bestveincarehuntsville.com.
There you go. Welcome back. Talking Ball 97.7 ESPN The Zone. Scott Tyson, Drew DeArmond. 8:32 on a Wednesday morning. And a lot of interesting outcomes from week 1 of the college football season. Week 2 promises, I think, to have just as many interesting outcomes because you got Alabama, Texas, you got Colorado, Nebraska, a rivalry renewed there and some words being exchanged. Can LSU rebound? There's just a lot of intrigue still. I know not everybody's playing big marquee games, but there's still a lot of questions for week 2.
Well, and this is one of my favorite segments of the week. He's one of the most versed in the landscape of college football. And, of course, you can catch him on YouTube on 24/7 Sports. He has the Daily Show, of course, Late Kick Live, and then, of course, the Late Kick Podcast. And that's our great friend Josh Pate from Nashville, and he's joining us with his weekly visit, coming off of an outstanding trip to Salt Lake City, Utah. Josh, welcome to the show.
You know, when they talk about dry heat out west, I never really got it.
Right.
When it was 95 and we were doing our show out there, and I was just out in the middle of the sun, and not a drop of sweat was falling off my forehead. It was only then, sirs, that I got what dry heat is all about.
Well, the Gators certainly got woken up. Your impressions of what you saw from Utah without their starting quarterback?
Well, Utah looked like Florida wanted to look. Basically, it looks like a well-put-together program, disciplined, had a plan, and it's not contingent on any one player, even at quarterback. Basically, it's what you should expect from a Kyle Whittingham team. And I think when you looked at Florida, I heard a lot of people talking about how slow they looked afterwards. Well, it's football slow. It's not like they lack fast athletes.
Mm-hmm.
It's when those athletes don't really know exactly what they're supposed to do. Boom, just like that. It's not instinctive, and they have to think. That's what makes a guy who could run a 4.48 look slow. And Florida's got some of that. So I went to Napier's press conference after that game. Normally I'll go to the winner's press conference, but I just was curious to get the vibe in there and hear what he said. And I think I always wonder when a team underperforms, did it surprise the staff or is it indicative of what they had already seen in practice? And I get the feeling that a lot of folks around that program had built up a little more confidence maybe than Napier and his staff had. I think they knew, man, we still got some issues here, and it could be a little bumpy start. Now, you hope to win the game, obviously, but I think everyone outside thought, okay, the rest of this team will be okay. It's the quarterback position. It's Graham Mertz. That'll be what hamstrings us if it does. Well, Graham Mertz wasn't even close to their biggest question, and that's a problem. That's a problem because you got a guy down the road in Tallahassee that indirectly is about to put a ton of heat on you. And I can tell you also, there are folks watching Deion Sanders immediate, and it's through 1 week, obviously, but immediately get returns in Boulder, and they watch Lincoln Riley do it last year in L.A., and they're going to start thinking to themselves, if they're not already, why should we have to wait? These other folks don't have to wait. Why should we have to wait? Now, that's irrational. It's a little illogical, but this is college football, so welcome to the party, I guess.
Around the SEC, I guess the other than disappointing team to watch would be LSU against, as you mentioned, that they kind of referenced Florida State and what happened there in Orlando.
Yeah, that was it was really interesting because of how back and forth the game was at the beginning. It's why I never draw conclusions. I really try and just put my hands behind my back so I can't reach my phone and say stuff in the first half of football games. I'll tell you where that cost me. Back when Bama played Clemson in that 2018 title game, and ended up getting blown out. They looked so good in the first quarter. I thought Bama was going to roll Clemson. And in return, it was actually like 44-18 or whatever the final was. So you don't really know. Sometimes you can see indicators, but you don't really know. And I thought LSU looked like they were positioning themselves to make that second half run. Well, instead it was Florida State. And I'm telling you, man, that was a cattle prod to the neck for LSU because they didn't expect that. When I say they didn't expect it, I don't think they thought those problems were going to be as glaring. And also afterwards, when you hear Brian Kelly say stuff like, I guess we thought we were Georgia, but we're really not, that clicks well in media. But what he's really saying is something about an attitude of his team. And I don't know exactly what. You can read between the lines. But I think he didn't view it as we got out-executed or they got better players than us as much as he viewed it as from the neck up, we probably weren't where we needed to be. Now, that's on him, but he's probably done everything he knows to do internally to communicate that message. Sometimes people respond more to being embarrassed or called out publicly for whatever reason. And so, look, I know a lot of folks sold their stock in LSU after week one. For all I know, they played the national champion in week one. I have no clue what Florida State's going to go on to do. I just know every year we sell on a team too hard early in the season only to look back and say, wow, maybe I should rethink that. That team they played was pretty good. And so I think LSU will be okay. But I'll just tell you, man, we call it portal syndrome on our show, and it's where everybody thinks that every player you get out of the transfer portal is just going to be good. They went and got DBs out of southeastern Louisiana and Syracuse. Okay, and sometimes it's just what it is. You just got to deal with it. They're not great back there. They're not. That's why they had to portal an entire secondary in. And so it's going to be a work in progress for them. They go to Mississippi State in 2 weeks, and that is a team with 20 of 22 starters being seniors. And that's a team that can throw the football. So it will not be easy for them that Saturday either.
Well, and now, speaking of not being easy, you warned America. I was rewatching it last night because you kept telling everybody, don't sleep on Riley Leonard and the Duke Blue Devils. What a win for Mike Elko. What a win for Riley Leonard, a kid that grew up in this state that I followed his career. But I know you had a take on Clemson. Where is Clemson right now? They seem to be at a crossroads.
Total crossroads. That's an overused phrase, but it's appropriate here. Total crossroads. I saw in my own phone, I saw a lot of my buddies saying, well, Dabo and Clemson, they're done. As a program that contends for titles, they're done. Well, that's not totally true, but it's partially true. Clemson version 1.0 under Dabo is done as a contender. The way they've done it there will never work to win a title again. That just means they've got to reinvent themselves a little bit, and it's as simple as this. They've got to embrace the transfer portal. That's it. It's really that simple. Now, I say it's that simple. This is like crossing the Rubicon. This is like pulling teeth for Dabo Swinney because he doesn't want to do it.
Yeah.
So, look, I'm of the opinion, this sounds really radical, this sounds really hot take-ish, but it's not at all. I firmly believe this is reasonable. He's either going to dive into the transfer portal or he's going to retire very soon from coaching. Wow. You can't have in between because of the standard that he set there. He, to his credit, elevated that program to being a perennial contender. Well, when you do that, people expect that, and that's the new standard. You reset the standard. Well, then the sport changed. Okay, college football does not sit still. It's ever evolving, and that's why the best plan possible in 2013 could be outdated by 2023. And I think that's the case here. They have a mechanism at their disposal in the transfer portal that their rivals are using, and they're not. That is a dereliction of your duty as a leader. Whether you like it or not, that's a dereliction of duty when you're voluntarily handcuffing yourself. So I'm not the kind of person who makes fun of Dabo Swinney when he talks about what his values are and what his belief system is on anything, and that includes the portal. But my only point is, in a very emotionless way, I say this, you've either got to adapt to it or you die professionally. And that's what's going to happen there.
Agreed.
So look, I'm telling you, neither would surprise me. It wouldn't surprise me if he totally 180'd on this, but it also wouldn't surprise me, a guy with multiple titles, earned more money than he can spend in 10 lifetimes. It wouldn't surprise me if at the end of the year he said, this isn't for me anymore, and I'm gonna step aside and let someone else do it. Neither one of those things would surprise me. It would rock the sport. It would be a really, really big story. But if you can't stomach that pill, then you can't stomach that pill, and that's okay. But you cannot continue to be the head coach of Clemson and ignore something that's in your lap, and it's what your rivals are doing just because you don't like the way it tastes. You can't do that.
Pate State doesn't have a far journey this week.
No.
Headed down to Tuscaloosa for Alabama, Texas. Plenty of intrigue with this one.
Yeah, boy. So are we going to do a telethon here, or do you want the 2-minute version of what I think about this game? I could talk about this. I could filibuster on this. I could just go and go and go.
The floor is yours, sir.
Yeah.
We've got a few minutes.
Yeah, we got a couple.
Yeah.
So I think Ohio State-Michigan will be the highest pressure game in college football this year.
Gotcha.
But I think the number 2 highest pressure game this year is this game right here because of the disparity in what the outcomes mean. Now, you guys get it. I don't know that people in Washington or Minnesota fully get what's on the line here. Like, if Steve Sarkisian wins this, they basically put a crown on his head. If he loses it, they start talking hot seat with him. It's totally illogical, but that's the way it is.
Wow.
With Nick Saban, you've got folks out there who are really willing to say, if he wins this is the same person I'm about to talk about. This person over here, scenario A, Saban and Alabama win it. They rank them number 1 next week. Saban and Alabama lose it. They question whether he still got it. And they start saying, well, he doesn't win these games anymore, does he? Alabama's they may be done as a contender under Saban, too. It's just 4 quarters of football, but that's really the difference in people's minds. So, also, Milroe and Ewers at the quarterback position. There's a ton of pressure on Jalen Milroe. I argue there's more pressure on Quinn Ewers. I think the road team's got more pressure here because Ewers is the one who is expected to be the 3-and-out first-round draft pick. He's the one that is surrounded by proven talent at the receiver position, and he's the one who hasn't done it yet. And throwing off his back foot a lot last week, still looked really uncomfortable, cut his hair, so everything's supposed to be good now. I think it is a Quinn Ewers night, one way or the other. And so that's just the backdrop. That's just the storyline stuff. Matchup of the game is Texas's run defense against Alabama and that run game, because the beauty of it is both teams think that favors them. Bama thinks that kind of game favors them. Texas thinks they can stand up to it. I think last year, if you're Sark and you go back and watch what stung Alabama, they were able to work the middle of the field early before Ewers got hurt with the passing game. Obviously, Josh Heupel in Tennessee did that. LSU even had a fair amount of success doing that. Now, if you're Alabama and you get those two DBs back, you think you got that cleaned up. There is no Jalen Hyatt on DeMarco Hellams style mismatch this year. At least you don't think there is. And if there's not, here's what it comes down to. I don't think Texas is going to run the ball overly effectively on Alabama, but what Texas will do is they'll ask their wide receivers to just win fights. They'll ask them to win contested balls, turn the 50-50s into 30-70s or 70-30s. And that's a fun matchup to watch, because I think Alabama's got all the confidence in the world in their pass rush and their physicality and ball skill at DB like they haven't had in years past, just to be blunt. And if that's the case, man, I think that game starts favoring Alabama, because I'm telling you where the biggest mismatch is for them in favor of Bama is that home atmosphere will be unlike any we've seen since 2019 LSU. And that Texas offensive line leaves a little bit to be desired right now, and that's a problem. That is a bright, blinking red light to me. They had penalty issues and procedural issues in week one, Texas did. That is the biggest question mark unit still on their team is offensive line. And they got a couple of backs, too, that I don't know are as well-versed in pass pro as they need them to be. So if Quinn Ewers can't settle in, if they can't get him hot early like they did last year, that is struggle bus for Texas. And because of that mismatch and because of how hard it's going to be to go in there and win Saturday night, you're going to have to show me you can beat Bama in that environment. I'm taking Alabama. I picked them to win and cover, actually.
Nice. I've done the same thing, no question about it. Before we let you go, how dangerous a road trip we just heard from Hugh Freeze. They've never been to the West Coast like this, as far as for a regular season game. Hugh has only done it once in his career for going to BYU. What is your early thoughts on this matchup with Cal and Auburn?
Yeah, when people hear you say that in 2023, by the way, the ones who have never done it, they laugh at it because they say, hey, what's the difference? You get on a plane. I mean, I could sit still for 3.5 or 4 hours and still be fine. I don't know how to explain travel to people who have never done it and tried to function. I'm just telling you it matters. And the longer you're on an airplane, the further you go away from home, it matters. And so, yes, it would be foolish to say that doesn't matter. Now, I think most folks look and say, yeah, but it's Cal. And that's true. Technically, it's Cal. Cal played North Texas in week one. The line on the game was 6.5. And Cal hung over 100 on. And I got to be completely honest with you, I didn't watch a down of the game. I have no clue how they did it. I just know that concerns me enough to where this Auburn-Cal game will be one that I circle and will be one that I watch because it's the kind of thing that the Pac-12, which is an undefeated conference at the moment, could circle as, look at that, we got an SEC scalp to put on our wall. And no one really cares, as you guys have noticed, no one really cares which SEC team they beat. Doesn't matter if it's a projected middle-of-the-pack team. They just love to tout it. And so this is one where Auburn needs to go out there and get it done because it doesn't matter how new you are as Hugh Freeze. There is no mismatch. There's no disadvantage you're at other than travel. So you got to overcome that travel, and you got to go win at Cal.
Wow. Hey, congratulations on the studio gig as well for CBS Sports Network.
Yeah, I appreciate it. I probably have to borrow a suit from Danny Cannell or something like that. I don't think I'll be well. I don't think I'm the best equipped from a wardrobe standpoint, but I do appreciate it.
Oh, hey, man, we'll have to see that. Yeah. See Josh in a suit, just like when I had to wear one.
We got to see this one.
Oh, this will be great. Of course, I will say I did not bend, Josh. I did not wear a tie.
Yeah, look, I've applied for a loan before, so I know how to pretend. I know how to dress up for an hour.
Oh,
we
yeah,
know you
so
will
I
do
did,
that. Well,
but-
safe travels to Tuscaloosa. We look forward to seeing you there and talking with you next week about your Pate State material from this big matchup and the week in college football. But always great to catch up, man. Thank you.
Appreciate it, guys.
Josh Pate with us. Let's get that final break in. Tomorrow's headline's going to wrap us up next.
You're listening to Talkin' Ball on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Got a report of a wreck on 565. This one's eastbound near County Line. No report of injury there, so hopefully they'll be able to clear it quickly. And a wreck on the Parkway Access Road at Airport. Not much to it. It should move out of the way quickly as well. You get 2 pieces of the hand-breaded juicy tender chicken and a buttermilk biscuit for $4.99 at Popeyes. Popeyes University in Jordan, 72 in Jeff and North Parkway. Captain Nick in the Popeyes Skywatch Traffic Center.
The Huntsville Sports Commission is responsible for bringing high-level sports entertainment to the Rocket City. In 2023, enjoy events like the CCSA Beach Volleyball Championships, Hometown Lenders Championship, UCI Paracycling Road World Cup, and so much more. To learn more about upcoming events and the Huntsville Sports Commission, visit huntsvillesports.com. The Huntsville Sports Commission. We do sports.
The kitchen is the heart of any home. It's where the family gathers. It's where kids discover old recipes and make them their own. Just starting out or just now getting started on the dream kitchen you've always wanted?
I'm Chris Haygood, and from all of us here at Bob Wallace Appliance to the home builders and the homeowners of the Huntsville area, a heartfelt thank you for buying local. We're in Huntsville, Florence, and Coleman, and online at bobwallaceappliance.com.
Injuries at work happen all the time in Alabama. So do motor vehicle and slip and fall accidents. If you're hurt at work or injured in an accident, I want you to call my good friends at Pond Lehocky Giordano. That's Pond Lehocky, Alabama's injury law firm. They got your back just like they've got mine. For personalized legal support, reach out to Pond Lehocky at 855-774-3838 or pondlehocky.com.
The representation is made that the quality of the legal services to be performed is greater than the quality of legal services performed by other lawyers. If you work in a dangerous or logistically intense industry, you know good training can be a challenge. There are training costs, safety concerns, and difficulty replicating real-world scenarios. There's a better way used right now in the Army and in all our armed services to better prepare our heroes, and it's available to you in your organizations. Higher Echelon's Game Development Team is revolutionizing learning in military training, dangerous industry, STEM, and sports performance domains with cutting-edge virtual training that immerses you in lifelike scenarios without the cost and safety concerns for trainees. With Higher Echelon's game-based training, you'll experience realistic simulations, precision accuracy, and unparalleled safety. Higher Echelon founder Dr. Joe Ross is retired Army who played and later coached for the cadets and puts that experience to use. His team has been building cutting-edge virtual training environments for soldiers and clients for a decade. Higher Echelon, the name you can trust for advanced training solutions. Reach out at higherechelon.com to get your free consultation. Go higher and go Army.
Great food and the best live entertainment is what it's all about at the Furniture Factory Bar and Grill. Head to downtown Huntsville every Tuesday for karaoke on the only outdoor karaoke stage in North Alabama. Thursday night is the Valley's longest running and biggest bike night. Food and drink specials, giveaways, and live music on the patio. And the Furniture Factory menu is fully loaded with options from steaks to salads, plus a whole lot more. Featuring a weekday happy hour that starts at 3, 619 Meridian Street, downtown Huntsville, and online at FurnitureFactoryBarGrill.com.
It's time for tomorrow's headlines today with Scott Tyson and Drew DeArmond on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
There you go. Welcome back. Talking Ball 97.7 ESPN The Zone. Monday night, we have rehashed it. Clemson, Duke. Duke gets the win over Clemson, 28-7 over then 9th-ranked Clemson. Clemson drops down in the polls. But after the game on the ACC Network's social media channels, Riley Leonard pleaded to his professor that he needed an extension for a paper because it was due at midnight or whatever, and he was not going to have time to get it done.
Right.
Well, the only problem is there are other players on the Duke football program that take the exact same class with the exact same professor. They all got their papers done except for Riley Leonard, so the professor denied him the extension, basically saying, hey, others got the papers done before you. You should have been able to get it done as well.
Yeah,
so
well,
no extension for Riley Leonard.
Basketball school. But great job by Riley Leonard. Played a hell of a game, got a heck of a win, and very interesting comments from Josh Pate on Clemson as they reached this fork in the road.
Was that ever? Do you see that? I
Yeah,
mean,
absolutely.
how interesting, or not interesting, but my, oh my. I mean, was it a year and a half ago? But others were saying Dabo Swinney was the heir apparent to Nick Saban, that was going to be the one that slid in there.
No.
And now Josh Pate is saying because of the climate, we've seen Roy Williams, Jim Boeheim, Mike Bray at Notre Dame on the basketball side. Yeah, they've stepped away because of the changing climate on the basketball side. Football side, we've seen coaches do the same thing. I mean, Dabo Swinney's reluctancy to change, will that ultimately cost? I mean, was that going to cost him?
It is if he doesn't start embracing the transfer portal. I thought the same thing as I was watching the game. If you don't relax your recruiting practices and let other kids, when they commit to you, visit other schools, if you don't embrace the transfer portal, and if you don't embrace NIL, then you might as well get out.
Does Clemson embrace the NIL? Do you know? I have not
think
gone
they
back
do
and
to
looked.
a degree. I think they choose their battles, but again, you're going to have to embrace the transfer portal because you have a program that should be attractive to other student athletes from other schools that have seen the way you've developed players at Clemson. And so he had to make some tough decisions on his coaching staff and jettison Brandon Streeter, who is a program guy for Garrett Riley. He's had to make some tough staff changes. He lost Brent Venables, who meant so much to his program. But he's just going to have to make some tough decisions.
Georgia and Kirby Smart, though, 2 years ago said they didn't take a guy out of the transfer portal. They won a national title.
Well, they've taken guys out of the portal since then, and they've also lost guys in the portal. So, again, you have to embrace the transfer portal to a degree. If you do not, then you need to get it. You're not going to win at the highest level. And he's won 2 national championships and fed the beast at Clemson, and they expect to be a championship contender every year. And right now they don't look like one. They lost to Duke in football, not in basketball, by 3 touchdowns.
And Duke has given him everything. They've given him Clemson has given him everything. They've given him a football-only facility, renovations. So we're back at it tomorrow morning.
Tom Luganbill here for my friends at Woody Anderson Ford. Bobby White and his team take great pride in their service department, and you can see it the moment you walk into those beautiful new service lanes. And just like a championship team, they all work together to make sure